Hi guys. This video is about Frank Miller's Sin City, both his collection of graphic novels and his 2005 Hollywood adaptation that he co-directed with Robert Rodriguez. I'll start at the beginning of the movie. This is the opening scene, but it played a more pivotal role in the pre-production process than anything.
She shivers in the wind like the last leaf on a dying tree.
Frank Miller owned the rights to his work and was not interested in turning his series into a Hollywood production. He was even quoted in a 2001 interview with the AV Club, saying that even if he did have total creative control over an adaptation, that he would probably want to do it animated, because so much of this series is what it looks like, the lighting and the stylized people. Rodriguez must have seen this interview, because in 2003, he flew Frank Miller out to Texas, where he had planned what he called a screen test to show Frank what they could do with the green screen. Rodriguez knew what was at stake. He also called in formidable actors, the likes of Josh Hartnett and Marley Shelton, to make his argument more convincing. He made promises to Frank Miller to make the film from his own studio and from Frank's novels. Then he offered him a position as co-director.
I love her. The silencer makes a whisper of the gunshot. I hold her close until she's gone.
Not only did this work, it made the final cut.
I'll never know what she was running from. I'll cash her check in the morning.
With some of the biggest names in Hollywood behind him, Frank Miller was ready to make his directorial debut. This film is a whole new level of close adaptation. I can remember picking up my first Sin City novel in a Barnes & Noble, turning the pages, and watching this movie. It's successful in every way, commercially, critically, and culturally. And it couldn't be done without Frank Miller. This was Frank's first time in the director's chair, but not his first time in Hollywood. He had been involved as a writer on both RoboCop 2 and 3 in the early 90s, hence his hesitation to return. Robert Rodriguez's dedication to both Frank and his work opened the door to what Frank later described as, quite literally, like having a dream come true. Frank didn't expect to be directing at all, and the last thing he expected was to fall in love with actors. In his director's commentary with Robert Rodriguez, he mentions a time on the set of the so-called screen test when Molly Shelton questioned Frank about her character's motivation in hiring her own hitman. After Frank went into deep detail, answering her question better than anybody else could, her eyes lit up, she went back to work, and he became a director. He was hooked. Frank's understanding of the characters and their world enabled him to bring out the best in his actors and his characters. Though he was nervous at first, intimidated by the high profiles of the best in the business, he soon realized that good actors make the director's life easy.
I get to do whatever I want, however I want, whenever I want it.
His partnership with Rodriguez didn't disappoint either. Both are active workers who are used to doing a lot of their own jobs. The result is that they both felt spoiled. They thought it was great working together. They very organically spread the workload, each focusing on characters they identified or connected with best. On the set of this movie took place a bit of a bromance, at one point incorporating a third guest director,
Quentin Tarantino,
with whom Rodriguez had worked with many times. Appreciation for the arts was mutual, and afterwards, Miller even said that with Robert, he discovered not just a good partner and a good friend, but another brother. Rodriguez also thought very highly of Miller, even before meeting him. He viewed Frank's graphic novels as the best directed movies never seen on a movie screen. When he was advised against having Frank on as a second director because of his lack of experience, he responded that he had been doing the job all along. Just read his books. In Frank Miller's own words, collaborations have taught him that thrilling things happen when another artist is at work, when you're playing off somebody, when you get those surprises, and when you get those problems you gotta solve. The fairy tale setting behind the camera's contrast with the world in front of the camera, after special effects of course, is as clear as the black and white on Sin City's pages. Frank Miller's involvement and impact could not be understated. Writing, illustrating, and inking the entire graphic novel series, then using his own work as the screenplay, then directing and even starring in the film, lasting about as long as the rest of Marv's adversaries. Both versions of the story are, without a doubt or apology, Frank Miller's Sin City.